Hey there. Welcome to your weekly astrology forecast for August 3rd through 9th. So this week on the agenda, we have a full moon in Aquarius. We have Mercury-Saturn. Mercury will be opposite Saturn. We also have Mars square Jupiter, and then some other things that I'll talk about. As always, I have some tips, 3 tips for you to really work with the energy of this week. I do apologize. I have the windows open because it's quite warm, so I'm hoping that there's not too much background noise and that you can hear me with the headphones. So welcome to those of you that are joining me live on Instagram, and if you're watching the replay, welcome as well. I record these live because I like interacting with you, and I always love the questions that you come up with. They make me think about things. And I get excited, as you may have seen with some questions. So all right, let's jump in. So we start off the week actually with a full moon in Aquarius. So this full moon, if you're interested, is exact on Monday at 8:58 a.m. Pacific time. So it's exact at 11 degrees of Aquarius. So a few different things that I want to break down regarding this full moon. I think I said full moon. It is a full moon. So we're in Leo season, right? The sun is in Leo, moon is in Aquarius. This creates this opposition, the full moon. So whenever there is a full moon, there tends to be a heightening of emotions. People tend to feel more freely, more strongly. Emotions are bubbling up to the surface, so to speak. And what I think is interesting about this is that we've just over the weekend previous to this full moon, we've had the sun square Uranus. And so Uranus is in the mix here a little bit, but I'm really curious to see how we feel on Monday, because my sense is that whatever Uranian kind of surprise or push for freedom or feeling like we need to get outside the box, my sense is that the peak of that energy may have already been experienced over the weekend prior. So so what day is that? So like the 1st and 2nd of August, I think we're really going to be feeling like we need to change things up. We need to push the envelope, push for freedom, like push for change. I mean, that's the general tone of the country and much of the world in general right now. So I'm thinking, more personal, because we're talking about the moon, so more personal in your own life. So that may be an element of this full moon too, where maybe something that you've been trying to change, there's a breakthrough around that. The other part of this full moon is that we want to look at the ruler of the full moon. So the ruler of the full moon is Saturn. I use traditional rulerships, traditional astrology. So Aquarius in ancient astrology was ruled by Saturn. Saturn is still hanging out at 27 degrees of Capricorn. So this is the last little chunk that Saturn will be in this sign of Capricorn for, until another 30-ish years or so. So this is a very important place for Saturn to be, because it means that there's a wrapping up kind of energy as well. And I think that's a part of this full moon. So wrapping up things around Saturn issues, responsibility, diligence, devotion, putting in the effort. And so it may be interesting for you to look at where this full moon is happening in your birth chart. So where you have Aquarius in your birth chart, which house, but then also looking to Saturn, because Saturn is a part of the equation. The other part of this that is tied into this moon and just tied into the moment of this week as well is Mercury will be opposite Saturn. So Mercury is still in Cancer, and Mercury is about our mind. It's about our thought process, communication, In weeks previous, Mercury has been square Mars, which is about passionate, sometimes frustrated, sometimes anger or intensity. So there's been like this amped up kind of energy around Mercury, and now Mercury is opposite Saturn. So I see this as where there is a more serious tone to conversations. There is a more serious tone, and there is more of like a let's get down to business. It can, Mercury-Saturn can feel like overcriticalness or being harsh with yourself or with others. So that's something I just want you to watch out for this week. If you already have a tendency to doubt yourself, to be hard on yourself, to be critical on yourself, I want you to just watch out for ways in which that might be happening more than normal this week, and to, do what you can. I think that anytime we're talking about Saturn, we want to set measurable goals that are based on your actions and your desires. That's one of the best ways to deal with Saturn. All right. I think the other piece too that I do want to mention about Mercury-Saturn, so it's an opposition. Oppositions tend to indicate challenge, but they can also show where there's a lot of strength that can be had as well. I mean, a full moon is an opposition, so it can be challenging, but it can be this time of celebration and like really lifting up things and making the most of a situation. And so with Mercury opposite Saturn, I think this week there is an opportunity to really make the most of your words, to make your words count, to, especially if you're doing things in a Saturnian kind of way, where it is consistent, mindful, thoughtful, diligent. And I think especially important too because of this moment in time, these next few months, where Saturn is making the last lap, so to speak, through Capricorn. This is an opportunity for you to really think, Mercury, think about the things that you want to wrap up in your life that are Saturnian in nature. And if anything, Saturn loves a good routine. All right. So next we'll talk about Mars-Jupiter. Let's see if you guys have any questions yet. Hi Nellie, hi Rena, hi Nisha, hi Anu, hi Jade, or Jadey, Robinson, Grotto, hi Peanut, hi Girl, hi Sassy, hi Cynthia, hi Magamamas. Okay. So, and if you guys have questions as I'm going through, throw them in the chat and I will do my best to answer. So Mars-Jupiter is kind of an intense combo. And there's a few different layers that we'll talk about. So Mars, the planet that is a symbol of action, like physical action. It can be something as mundane as physical exercise, to going to battle, like fighting for something that is something that you believe in. And the other thing about Mars is that it is associated with anger and frustration. So there's this full spectrum of what Mars can express itself. And so Mars is in kind of an interesting point because Mars is in the sign of Aries still, right? It's been there for a while. It's moving very slowly at this period in time because it will retrograde in September. I think it's September 10th or 11th. And so Mars, even though it's moving slowly, it's in a position of power here. So I say that because Mars rules the sign of Aries. So Mars is in a place where it can act in a way that is in most alignment with the qualities that we find helpful for the planet. So what this may look like is like really feeling passion and inspiration and a drive to do, a drive to take action, a drive to take helpful action. And so that is the Mars section. Now Mars is square Jupiter. Square is a tension aspect. Jupiter is the planet that's about expansion, growth, enthusiasm. There is a hunger for life. There's a desire to do more, to learn more, to experience more, to experience by doing. And so when these two come together, there is like this appetite for more, for like doing more and expressing more. And this is a very, like, especially the signs that these are happening in, these are both cardinal signs. So Aries, cardinal fire, and then Capricorn, cardinal earth. So these are very action-oriented energies. So I'm feeling like the tone this week is like there's an enthusiasm to do something. There's an enthusiasm there to expand yourself, to improve yourself, and to take action with that. Now, we talked about Mars being in a place where it does have it's in a more beneficial placement. It's more helpful to us in this material world. Oops. And in contrast, Jupiter is in more of a tricky situation. Just you guys here. So Jupiter is in the sign of its fall, which is Capricorn. Fall is when a planet is in the sign opposite its exaltation. It's a fancy term for basically saying Jupiter is not in a place that's in alignment with its natural qualities. So its helpfulness is a little bit limited here. So the way that that being said, Jupiter is a helpful planet, and the way that I see it as, I would think this is more about you're more motivated and you're this week possibly more in a place where you're motivated to take action and quick, instinctual, passionate action movement. That's all Mars kind of stuff, because Mars is the planet that is more turned on, so to speak. All right. So I have one last thing to talk about, and then I'll give you guys some tips for the week. Let's see. Hi, Becky. Hi, Tim. Hi, Afisha. Hi, Ashi. Hi, Erica. Hi, Ed. Side note, before I forget, I did make a full moon guided meditation, and I put that on YouTube. I think I posted it last night, so that is there for you when you're ready. Okay, so the other piece, minor piece of this equation for this week, is that Venus is moving into Cancer. So this is important because Venus was retrograde for period of time. Let's see, that was late June, early July. It was retrograde in Gemini. So now Venus is moving completely out of that sign. And the way that I'm thinking about this is we all had so much energy happening within that sign of Gemini, because Venus was retrograde there. We had some lunations there. And so it's like that area of your life, wherever you have Gemini within your birth chart, that was an area of refocusing. And so now we are completely moved out of that section of time. And Venus is moving into Cancer, which is like a more soft kind of energy. I guess, well, I don't know if I would call Cancer soft, but it's... Cancer to me feels more flowy and like a spiraling swirl than Gemini. Gemini to me feels more like shooting an arrow kind of energy. So it's like a different kind of tone when we're talking about relationships. Venus, the planet of relationships, love, beauty, money, all of those things. And the other piece of that too is that now this means that by whole sign Venus will be opposing Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn. But it's got a while before it does that. So we'll talk about that more later in the month. All right, so I have some tips for you all. Hi, Six. Hi, Pacific. Okay. Hi, Minnie. Oh, you're welcome for the meditation. So my goal is to start doing moon meditations on YouTube more often. No promises, but my schedule's changed a little bit, so I thought it would be fun to start doing those again. Okay. Tip number 1, and we'll pull some tarot cards as well. Tip number 1 is I want you to ask yourself what your top priorities are this week. So I say, what are your top priorities? Because we have full moon. Full moon tends to be a time where there's a lot going on internally as well as externally. And then also Mercury-Saturn. So Mercury-Saturn, we talked about it being a time where you can actually be very productive. And I think the caveat to that, the trick to that is it's when you are strategic with your time and when you accept boundaries. So one way to do that is to prioritize, to write down what your top 3 priorities are this week. You could even do that day by day, but I think especially this week, just because there's a lot going on and because I feel like there is this desire to do a lot, that's going to help you stay focused and to build your confidence as well. That's another Mercury-Saturn situation. Okay, so tip number 2 is I want you to ponder what actions you need to take this week. So that's sort of like the next level of this process. And I'm saying that because we talked a lot about Mars, right? And I think it is important. So even though we're in a waning phase of the lunar cycle, which is about sort of like unwinding and pruning things away and doing less, starting that process of moving inward, I do think it's important for you to focus on taking action this week. So whatever that looks like for you, depending on what's happening in your life and just your physical, emotional energy as well. So I know for a lot of people, at this time, it's difficult to do anything productive during the day. And so I think that the way to work with that is to set reasonable expectations for yourself, reasonable goals for yourself. That's another Saturn bit of advice. But what actions would be most beneficial to you this week within your capacity this week? All right. Tip number 3. Within all of this, I want you to ask yourself, what is the one essential action that you really need to take this week? So I'm using the word action very intentionally because I think that so often when we set goals and we set our to-do lists, we focus on what we want to have done, what we want to have happened, and very often that outcome is not entirely within our control. So I want you to really, and again, this is like all Saturn stuff, I want you to really focus on what it is that you need to do this week. So what is like the essentialness of that? I hope that makes sense. All right. So I will pull. So, okay. I felt inspired to, I don't know why, but I felt inspired lately to use my old the Rider-Waite Tarot deck. I haven't used it in many, many months, but it's been calling to me again. So I'll pull one of those, and then I was thinking I will pull an animal card as well to see what kind of like, for lack of a better term, instinctual or behavioral kind of energy is present. Yeah, okay. So if you have a question, you can hold that in your consciousness, or you can just breathe and relax. Okay. So, tarot card. Oh, I love this card. See if you can see it, the Queen of Pentacles. So just let this sit with you, and then I'm going to pull an animal card. Thank you for your patience as I shuffle. Ooh! I pulled the cheetah. It's one of my favorite animals. Okay, so let's talk about these. First, I want to hear from you. What do you think? What do you think about? Like, what emotions or qualities or actions come to you when you just look at this card image? What comes to you when you think of the word queen? What comes to you when you think of the element of earth, which is what the pentacles are about? So what's coming to, so what this card symbolizes to me is a comfortable amount of financial support, and the queens have a leadership role element to them. When it's a Queen of Pentacles, there is a solidness to that. There is this aspect of leadership or confidence that isn't performative. It's more of like a lead by doing versus a lead by, what do I want to say? It's like leading by example versus leading by speech, because this is an earth energy. I'm also, whenever I see this card, I'm also really drawn to the bunny here. The bunny, because they procreate so often, bunnies, I think if I remember right, they have bunny babies like throughout the year. So this is a reason why in symbology rabbits are associated with prosperity and abundance, because they are literally creating like year round. So I'm always drawn to that. It's kind of just like hopping around in the corner. And then, so I'm also drawn to all of the yellow color here. Let's see what you all have to say. Nisha says building, patience. Yeah, the Queen of Pentacles totally has this like patient kind of vibe. Very Saturnian, right? Kashi says this queen holds so much power yet sits with humility in her throne. Attracts her kingdom rather than pushing her agenda. Yes. Like that's totally the feeling of this, right? Like if you look at the action of this, it is just, it's not soft energy, but it's like sturdy energy. It's very reserved is not the right way to say it, but yeah, that there's an element here, like you say, Kashi, of attraction rather than pushing. Okay, what about the animal? So again, I want to hear from you all. What do you think of when you think of a cheetah, or when you're looking at this card? Like, what's the emotion or the behavior, like what do you think of? And at a more personal level too, like I want you to be thinking about how do these things, these qualities relate to your life right now, the situations in your life and your behavior, because that is what this is really about. So it's, side note, it's funny that I was thinking about using the animal cards, because again, this is a deck I haven't picked up in many, many months. And then I saw Kimberly Johnson, is that your last name? Johnson, I can't remember. Magamamas. Magamamas has like a ton of content that she does around working with your instincts and your physical somatical patternings that happen, like especially working with the freeze, fight and flight instincts. So if you're not familiar with her work, definitely check her out, because she has some really interesting talks and classes that she does. If you just search Magamamas, which is the way it sounds, you can find her. So but whenever I look at her work, like that, the animal instinct is very present. And I think that, the other thing the reason I was thinking of that too is I wanted to note that this is from the Wild Unknown animal deck, and I don't have the book. I don't use it in the way that maybe that artist might interpret it. When I think about animals, I'm really looking at what does the animal do? What is it known for? How do we interact with it as humans? And what is unique about that animal within the animal kingdom as well? Because that symbology is what I'm really drawing from. So less so than like myths and pop culture and things like that. I think that there's definitely value in that if that's what you connect with. For me, I'm really like find it super interesting to look at the animal's behavior. Anyways, that's a whole, sorry, I digress. Okay, so when I look at the cheetah, like this is such an active kind of energy, right? This is like a very Mars energy. And these colors even are just like the lower 3 chakra energy, like the root, the sacral, the solar plexus. Very fiery kind of energy, and the cheetah itself is moving forward super quickly. Cheetahs are sprinters. They're not marathon runners. So again, another Mars symbol. Mars in Aries especially is a sprinter, not a marathon runner. So even though we have Saturn energy involved, I think this is like, pay attention to what you can do as far as like, what does your sprint look like? Because I think that's important this week, is where do you need like that immediate action, and when is it too much? Kashi says, I love the bunny explanation. That cheetah symbolizes to me swiftness. Yeah, totally. Nisha says, fast-paced, direction, motivation, identifying priorities and focusing on them solely. Yeah, it's a very like laser, like I'm going after this. Kashi says, and the background of the cheetah card symbols to me a vortex. Ooh, yeah, it's totally vortexy, huh? Like you get, again, it's that like you get pulled into the bullseye, so to speak. Awesome. Well, let's see. Gosh, this is moving swiftly into the vortex of our creation. Yeah. And bringing our uniqueness, pattern of spots. Yeah, the cheetah has the spots, right? So it's funny. See, this is why oracles are so cool, because I wasn't even thinking about the spots. But if that is something that you notice, that is important for you to, to look at and think about. All right. So if, leave me a comment. Let me know how you like this, especially if you're watching the replay. As far as classes and offerings that are coming up, again, I have that full moon guided meditation that is up on YouTube. You can find that on my YouTube channel, Shauna McGrath Astrology. Also, I am hosting a free class on Thursday next week. So it's Thursday, or this week, I guess, by the time you're watching this. Thursday, August 6th. It's at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and I'm going to show you how to look up your birth chart online so that you can print out a copy for yourself or, have it on your computer. Super simple, basic class. Maybe you have a copy of your chart, but I think it would be good for you to know how to do this. Also showing you how to, if you have friends or family and you would like to work with their chart, you will know how to pull it up for yourself. So that again is Thursday, August 6th at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and it'll be via Zoom, so you'll have a chance to chat with me and ask questions. I was inspired to do that because I will be doing an Astro 101 course in the near future, and so I wanted everyone to be able to know how to pull up their own birth chart, and I'll talk a little bit just about why it's good for you to have just that visual of the circular chart versus a list, like a laundry list of your placements. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to someone where they know the list and the points and they know what sign blah 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 is in, but they don't have the actual wheel. And I think if you want to make the most of astrology, it's important to have that wheel and to know what you can do with it. And then I'll also talk about the ethics of looking up other people's charts as well. So again, that is a free class. And to sign up for that, to sign up for that, go to my website, shaunamcgrathastrology.com/events. You'll find it there. And again, it's free for you to sign up. And it will be recorded. So if you can't make it, sign up anyways and you'll get the recording. And that is all for now. Thank you all so much for being here and being who you are. I'm wishing you a week with health and comfort, and that you are able to make the most out of the time that you have. Bye.